French toast with blueberries, bananas, walnuts, and of course, maple syrup. I can smell the nutmeg. It's really nice and fragrant. Perfect brunch, if you ask me. Hi, I'm Kendall. I'm a chef tutor here at the Waitrose Cookery School. Today, I'm going to take you through one of my favorite brunch dishes, French toast with maple syrup and fresh fruit. So there's a lot of debate over whether this is a breakfast or brunch dish. I'd say it certainly qualifies as both. As a new mum, I rarely see brunch and always see breakfast, so I'd be perfectly happy to eat this at 8 a.m. But I'd love to know what you think. Let us know in the comments below. So I'm cracking 2 eggs into a bowl. I'm using a nice shallow bowl, one that's going to fit my bread in it quite nicely. So just using a fork to beat these eggs up nice and smooth. And I just want to make sure that they're relatively homogeneous, that I don't have any lumps of yolk or white in that bowl. And then once I'm confident with that, I'm going to add some milk into that. I'm using 5 tablespoons of semi-skim milk. You could certainly use a dairy-free alternative for this. My preferred dairy-free milk is an oat milk, but soy would work really well. Almond milk would add a really nice nuttiness, which would complement the walnuts, which we're going to garnish our French toast with. But whatever dairy-free milk you use in regular rotation would do just fine. So once I have my custard base, I'm going to add a little bit of flavoring to this, and this is really an opportunity to kind of express yourself and use what you've got in your cupboard and your fruit bowl. Today I'm using a lemon and some nutmeg, but that could just as easily be an orange or even a grapefruit and some cinnamon or mixed spice. I'm going to zest my lemon right over the bowl into my custard. The zest is really nice and floral. And by zesting it right over the bowl, I extract all of those essential oils directly into the mix, which is what I want. So once I've zested that lemon, I'm not going to use the juice today because it doesn't really have a place in this dish necessarily. But you could certainly pop that lemon in the fridge and then add it to your water. Use it to dress a salad. I love a little bit of fresh lemon juice and olive oil on a nice fresh salad. I think that would be a really good use for it. So once I've got my lemon in there, I'm going to add some nutmeg. I love to use whole nutmeg. I just think you get so much more pungency from the whole pod. So I'm going to grate that again on my microplane directly into my custard. And it's hard to measure this, but I think go with your gut. You want it to be lovely and aromatic. If you haven't got nutmeg in your cupboard, or you'd prefer to use something else, cinnamon would be a really delicious alternative, as would mixed spice. Or if you wanted to kind of stretch even further, cardamom would be really, really delicious in this. And if you're looking for the recipe, you'll find the link in the description below. So I have my pan on a moderately high heat here. I've got some butter at the ready. I want to make sure that my butter is foaming at the same time that I'm ready to cook my French toast. So I'm going to dip my bread into the custard and I'm going to get it well soaked. I can use my fork to help with that process. I'm giving it just a couple seconds on each side, just to make sure that that custard is really soaking in to all of that bread. And I'm making 2 slices today. The recipe does make 4, but I'm just making 2 today. Right, so my bread is soaked. My pan is nice and warm. I'm going to add a bit of butter to my pan. I want to get it nice and foaming, and then get a spatula ready to help me do the flipping. And I just want to make sure that my pan is well coated in that foaming butter. And then once all my butter is melted and it's nice and foamy, we're going to go in there with our soaked bread. Right, so once this is cooked for a couple minutes, I'm going to take a little sneak peek and see what it's looking like underneath. I've got really lovely caramel happening there, so I'm going to give this a nice confident flip. You can see those lovely browned edges. I can smell the nutmeg. It's really nice and fragrant. It smells delicious. So we're going to continue to cook that for another couple minutes, and then I'm going to get a plate ready to put it on. So I didn't know that this could be called eggy bread until I moved to the UK. It makes perfect sense though, because that's what it is. I experienced a lot of French toast when I was studying in Montreal, and it's called pain perdu there. All the same, all very delicious, all a perfect brunch if you ask me. So I've got really lovely caramelization on both sides. I can tell it's started to kind of puff up a little bit. I've got that really nice kind of set custard texture running through. So I'm going to transfer this onto my serving plate, and I'm going to fry off my second slice. If you are looking like you might need a little bit of butter in the pan, certainly don't be shy. There really isn't much better than foaming butter, especially when it starts to caramelize and you get those browning milk solids in there. So my second slice of bread is going into the pan. So while my toast is frying off, I'm going to get my garnish prepared. I'm serving this with bananas and blueberries today, which I think is a delicious breakfast combination. Though if I had my true way, I would certainly have a bit of bacon on there too. I think bacon and maple syrup, as a born and raised Canadian, really is the only option for French toast. And if you are in doubt, I encourage you to try it. I'd love to hear how you get on. This would be really delicious with a dollop of Greek yogurt as well. Really, there's so many options, and if you don't have bananas, you don't have blueberries, but you've got strawberries or passion fruit maybe, might be a delicious option, raspberries, whatever's in season. I'm all for eating the seasons and making use of what's in the fruit bowl and in the fridge. So I've got really lovely caramel on my second slice. I'm going to give this a flip and let that cook for another minute or two on that other side. So I've got my bananas and my blueberries. I don't need to do anything to my blueberries. They're delicious as is, but I have got some walnuts that I'm going to use to garnish my dish. I think nuts add a really lovely texture and depth of flavor. I'm using walnuts today because I love them, but you could use pecans or pistachios or whatever's, again, in your cupboard, or pumpkin seeds might be a really delicious alternative to this as well. So my favorite way to get these nice and crushed, as opposed to chopping through them, is actually use the bottom of a bowl or ramekin. Saves you chasing them around your board and breaks them up into really nice little organic pieces. So my second piece is ready. I'm ready to serve that up. We are ready to garnish our French toast. I've got my sliced bananas and some blueberries. So just letting them fall as they like, and a sprinkling of walnuts. Lovely bit of texture there. So you could use golden syrup or honey, they would be delicious, but in my opinion, there is no other option than maple syrup. It practically flows through my veins. So here we have our finished French toast. It looks pretty delicious. I think truth is always in the eating, so I'm going to dive in for a little taste. It's really yummy. I would be pleased as punch if someone made that for me for breakfast. Thanks for watching. That's my recipe for French toast with blueberries, bananas, walnuts, and of course, maple syrup. I'd love to know how you get on. Let us know in the comments below.